Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague Season 3 here with the two sides, Ninjas in Pyjamas versus Vega Squadron. Game 1 was pretty exciting.
It was clowny.
It was, I can't believe you guys missed it. We're going to go straight into Game 2. Of course, on a serious note, the first game has been given to Ninjas in Pyjamas because Vega, they did turn up late. They were told to be here, obviously, on the clock, on the hour for the game. Unfortunately, they didn't make it into the lobby until 10 minutes after, which was the rules. It's the rules. It's the cutoff period. So the first game has been given to Ninjas in Pyjamas here. So this is going to be Game 2 in this best of 2 series. So unfortunate for the side of Vega, but rules are rules, and at the end of the day, you've got to enforce them.
Yeah, I think it would have been maybe a bit more understandable if they weren't playing another game.
Yes.
But if you're playing another game and you're late, then yeah, you should get the death
And the
loss.
fact that other game was League of Legends, I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Like, honestly, really, we're going that far? It's not okay. It's really not okay.
But we're back to Dota. They've returned to Dota 2. This is the final game of the day, so we're having an early finish.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's all right. Yeah,
Vega, they're going to get their hands on
cheers of jubilation. But yeah, the draft, Andy.
There's a tiny IO.
Ooh.
They banned the Beastmaster and the Bounty Hunter, so Solo obviously not going to be able to get his hands on the Bounty, and Beastmaster not going to be seen here from Mag. This is one of the few teams who have actually seen Respect ban the Beastmaster against Vega in this patch. Not really many people feel like it's high enough value to take out. I would strongly disagree, and NIP are kind of feeling a bit of the same. And interestingly enough, no Chen actually taken from either team. Vega had first pick, so they took the Wisp. Ninjas in Pyjamas immediately react with Undying and Gyro. Obviously, you take the Gyro because it's a counter to Undying, and the hero's already top tier anyway. And Vega are going to take up the Tiny, and here we are.
Yeah, the Tiny. I mean, we saw it, of course, in the first series, and it worked out pretty well, to say the least, for the side of Vega. And I mean, against the Gyro and Undying, obviously two heroes that are going to be very strong in the laning stage. But if this game goes past a certain point, Tiny's just going to clean up these heroes. Yeah,
Gyro's not good against Tiny late game, like not even close. You're going to be relying on the flat cannon to kill the rest of the team of Vega and not the Tiny, because you just simply put won't have the single target damage to deal with him. He's just too tanky. He has way too much DPS in the later game phases. Now, NIP do have a couple of things going for them. Undying clearly is very good in his own right. Gyrocopter is a good mid-game core. They now have Disruptor to counter the Wisp and the Tiny. Getting to level 6 might be a little bit of a problem, depending on how the lanes work out for NIP. But if he does get to that point, it's a very potent hero to have against the combo in general. And as long as you're in a good position, you can just go for either the relocate, or not the relocate, the glimpse on the relocate, or a static storm into kinetic field.
And well, with the third pick now for the side of Vega, when you haven't got the Beastmaster available for Mag, who do you take? It's going to be the Darkseer. And well, the Wombo combos are certainly going to be real. And we really have seen the power of the Darkseer recently in this patch, most foremost. And there was kind of a lull where Darkseer wasn't that
popular. Why are we showing Dazzle?
Because it's Scriff.
It's freaking Scriff.
Because it's
Get on your A game.
He's going to get, it's probably going to put techies up in a second. But now here we go, Darkseer. That's the right kind of purple guy we're looking for.
He just spammed it like 4 times. He's like, I'm showing it, you fools.
Good job, Scriff.
Yeah, he hit a button. Good job.
Thanks, Scriff.
All right, well, whatever. It's fine. Doesn't matter.
But come on, BTS and Giant Dota don't have to deal with this. Why do we? Come on, let's get some production value. Thank you, Scriff. We're going to settle on Darkseer. But Darkseer, Andy, talk to me about him.
Well, I do think that he is fantastic to punish greedy lanes. I don't know if NIP are necessarily greedy with their heroes. I think it's just one of those things where you can go for the early Crimson Guard, you can go for the early Pipe. Right now, NIP have a pretty good amount of magical damage. Like, you have Rocket Barrage, you have Call Down, you got Disruptor, now you even have a Puck. On top of all of that, I'm thinking we're probably going to be seeing the Limp Puck in middle lane. Vega actually going with a Slardar, so it is going to be a 2-1-2 for sure. We're going to see the Wisp in a tiny mid. We're going to see Darkseer in the off lane, and a Slardar plus what could potentially be the misclicked Dazzle that we saw Scriff show a second ago.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Yeah. It was an anticipating.
He was anticipating it. What a player.
So, I'll take the flame back. Scriff.
I don't.
You don't?
Don't ever take the flame back.
Okay, no. Scriff, screw you. Screw you, mate. Screw you, mate.
That's better.
Final ban for the side of Ninjas in Pyjamas. Maybe they ban out the Dazzle here.
Yeah, it is possible.
Yeah. They ban out the Bane.
They take out Bane. All right, well. We'll see if they opt to go for the minus armor. I think it's very good when you also have a Blink Initiator, because that's the main thing. Like, it's not just the minus armor, it's the fact that you have the potential of just straight up saving a hero from 1,000 range with a Shallow Grave. And it's more than enough time for a hero to walk out of the kinetic field no matter what rank it is, because Grave lasts 5 seconds, so even if you get comboed, you can always get out. And plus you can just Grave and TP. There's like a lot of things that you can do to escape a bad situation.
Reserve time.
And final ban for the side of Vega. Well, who do Ninjas in Pyjamas still need? They are still looking for what we'd imagine to be the solo laning hero. Is there anyone that kind of comes to mind that they could be looking to pick up, and obviously Vega would be looking to take away from them here?
Well, they can't get their hands on a Queen or a Lina, which if they wanted to do a 2-1-2, they could. Like, they could put Undying in the off lane with some range that has decent harass. And up against the Slardar, his laning phase isn't actually that good. So depending on what support Vega get, they could look to go aggressive. But since Ninjas in Pyjamas have to pick first, they're going to have to take out something that actually, or pick something that has good lane presence. And I think Vega were maybe assuming it would be a 2-1-2 or an aggressive tri-lane, one or the other, because that means that the Viper would end up being in a 1v1 or a mid role, and then the puck would obviously just go wherever the Viper wasn't. So taking that out, now NIP, they are going to be looking for their last hero here.
Let's see what they decide to pick up here as their final core component. And I mean, so far with the draft, it's going to be very nice in the early to mid game, but against Vega's lineup, they're just not going to have a leg to stand on in the late game.
It's going to be tough, without a doubt. Now, Puck Aghanims is actually very good against Tiny Wisp, because you can't, even with BKB, walk out of the coil range, so you're kind of stuck there. So unless you find a hero to go on immediately, you're risking getting hit by a 4.5-second stun if you break it, and otherwise you're just going to be like, boop, I can't go anywhere. I have to stand in this coil for the time that it's going to last. But I think it's like 8 seconds, something like that. It's a long time. It's almost the entirety of the relocate duration. So, NIP still looking for their last pick here.
Indeed, and thinking about it, and I'm trying to think, the puck, have we seen Jonas and Fan or Limp pick that up more on the side of Nip? We did see
Limp, I think.
It was Limp, wasn't it? So it's more than likely going to be the mid lane puck, which I guess against the tiny IO can do pretty much avoiding the death potential.
You can phase shift every toss. You should never really die. The one way you could die is if you orb aggressively, but I think any puck player would know that you just don't do that when you're playing against a dual lane that has kill potential. And Nip,
that's the Jonas and Fan. That is indeed. So with the Axe now, do you think this is opting more towards a safe lane Axe with an aggressive tri-lane for Nip? Do they want to try and meet the Slardar's lane head on?
I think you would. There's two options. You can either put the Axe against the Darkseer solo, and then you can go aggressive with Gyro, Disruptor, Undying, which is a very, very good aggressive tri-lane. It would totally shut down the Slardar. Your puck would still do okay mid, and because Darkseer has a tendency to creep cut, Axe doesn't care if you creep cut because you just sit there and you tank the creeps anyway.
That's true.
Right? It's the same kind of matchup when you have a Clockwork against an Axe. Is the Clockwork can't really ever contest the wave because you're just spinning on it, and the same thing can be said for Darkseer. So it would be an interesting matchup if we do end up seeing the Axe versus Darkseer, and I do think Nip would be well served to go aggressive with this lane. It is very strong.
Here we go with the final pick, Seema the Slayer on the Shadow Demon as we get ourselves ready to go into the game here. The second in a 2-game series here between NIP and Vega. Of course, the first game was given to NIP due to Vega turning up to the game over 10 minutes late, which was indeed in the rulebook. So we're just playing by the rules here, boys. Playing by the rules. Nothing to see here. So game 2, Vega going into it. They've got that tiny hoe that we saw be very strong for them in the first series today. The question is, do NIP have the draft to deal with it? What are they looking for that's going to get the momentum swinging the most in favor of NIP?
I think the aggressive tri-lane from Nip should be very hard to deal with for Vega. I mean, you can move the Wisp, but then it's a Tiny versus a Puck, and yeah, okay, maybe the Tiny still farms, but I think Vega are going to be more reliant on their mid-game than their laning phase. So we will see how it ends up working out.
Potential level 1 engagement here. Jonas and Fan, he's looking for 9 Pasha. He was actually looking for the Battle Hunger there to enable them to close the gap, but it's not going to be the case. And with that said and done, let's get ourselves familiarized with who is on what. On the side of NIP, it's going to be Jonas and Fan here on the Axe. We'll now find the Battle Hunger, and maybe this will be enough for NIP to get themselves in position. Seema trying to juke him out into the jungle. The kinetic field's going to block him off from base. With the decay on him, he'll defensively disrupt himself, but he's almost certainly dying here, and he certainly is. Who are they going to let it go to? It's going to be Jonas and Fan picking that one up. First blood to the side of NIP, and off the back of that, let's introduce the rest of the team. It's Hansken on your Undying, Error on his Gyrocopter, Limp on his signature Puck, and Seal Kid finally on the Disruptor. I'm OD Pixel, I'm here with Draskell. Draskell, what are we seeing from Vega?
We got Solo handling the Wisp. We're going to have Slardar, played by Non-Pasha, who's also making his way towards top. No one playing on the Tiny. And then towards the base, we're going to have Seema, the Slayer, He's going to be playing on that Shadow Demon. Then finally, Mag is going to be handling the Shadow Demon.
Mag on the Shadow Demon?
Or, sorry, Darkseer. I was looking at Shadow Demon and I saw Mag's name, and then I just said what my eyes saw instead of what my brain should have said.
Oh, Andy. It's
unfortunate.
It's all right. And lane-wise,
they're actually dual off-laning.
Indeed, it's not going to be the aggressive trial as such that we may have expected.
I think maybe Hansken will leave this lane at some point. Because Vega wanted to dodge. They did not want to go up against a Nip tri-lane. It's way too strong, right? So no matter where you go, you want to make sure that the Slardar is having a bad time. But I guess if it's going to be a Gyrocopter versus Slardar, that's still very favored for the Gyro.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it will be in there. They are keeping the lanes as they are. We do now see, as you're saying, Undying make his way up to the top lane from the bottom lane, just crossing past the mid lane. Solo playing very aggressively here. There'll be a toss onto Limp, and Skin just drops down the decay onto Tiny. But will continue his journey up towards the top lane. So, I mean, as you were saying, Darkseer can be dealt with if you are an Axe.
Yeah, but the thing is, he has to get to a point to where, like, Mag is only going to Ion Shell his friendly creeps, and that's his entire strategy, right? So you kind of have to get to a point where Mag has to walk back between his towers to Ion Shell. That way, you stop him from being able to, like, hold his tower. Because if you're creep cutting and you kill the creep wave before it, like, obviously the tower pushes in, that's how creep cutting works. But you can't just do it like this, because he'll just take residual damage by tanking the creep waves. Like, Mag has the advantage because he's always pushing the wave. Like, Jonas needs to, like, sack one wave and go between the tier 1 and the tier 2, I think, and that's the way that you would deal with it.
Okay, and well, towards this top rune here, we're seeing a bit of a fight kick off here as they're going to contest for this one. Silky coming in as well with the kinetic field. We'll be able to trap the Tiny. Solo's going to get brought down now, and with the tombstone on the high ground, this Tiny's not in a good position. He'll go down as well. God. 2 minutes in, that's the power of the Undying. You just need a couple of levels, a point into decay, a point into tombstone, and suddenly you're taking fights just like that.
Now, life is really hard right now if you're Vega. We did say their early game wasn't super important. They do have a Tiny Wisp, and they do have Slardar for mid-game, so it's not as if they can't do anything, but I think their top lane's not even going that well.
All right, Pasha's going to find the crush onto Era, but Era and Silk, they're looking for the killer onto Slardar. There'll be a disruption holding back the Gyro, but Pasha's going to still tick down here to the Thunderstrike. Seema the Slayer will look to TP out, and it looks like he'll make it. They've got no way to stop it. But another kill going to the side of NIP, and with 2.5 minutes in it, it's 4 for 0 at the moment. Every lane across the board going very well for the Dire.
Well, the one lane, actually, that's doing okay is safe lane. Like, Mag is having an okay time against Jonas right now. He's not been able to really push out the wave as far as he wants to. His tower is actually the one taking damage instead of the Darkseers, and this one I think is pretty tough for the Axe if he's being pushed in constantly. But if he can get into a good position in the lane, it might be a bit easier for him to come back. Like, he can even pull the creep wave as well. He wants the lane to push out, because that way you don't have to deal with the shells under your tower. And it's more like Mag is the one who's going to have to be using shell to push you off the wave.
Okay, and I mean, top lane, the Slardar, he's still finding the farm here. You know, he's got his 13 CS. He's keeping even with the Gyrocopter. But obviously the deficit there, he has been taken down once. And Era coming in with the tickles there, giving him a bit of a shot. Mid lane, Tiny versus Limp. Still an advantage for Vega in terms of farm, but it is the fact that NIP have found these kills. That's given them a bit of a booster here in this laning stage.
Now, the fact that the Axe got free Tranquils because he got the first blood on the Shadow Demon, like, that's a big deal for him. That means Jonas, no matter what, he'll probably never be forced back completely. And I guess farming under the tower isn't so bad. His tower has only taken a couple of shots right now. And I thought he was going to go, like, try to do offensive pulling, but I guess the cap is blocked, so he can't do that.
Oh, Seema looking for a disruption onto Puck. Isn't going to find it. Silk is going to drop down the kinetic field here. There's going to be the backup of the IO to help out the Shadow Demon, but Hansken and Limp are going to be there, so Shadow Demon can't fight. He's going to get brought back into it from the glimpse. The slow from the zombies holding him in place. It's a killing spree for Undying, and it looks like they'll find Solo here as well as they go forward on the Puck. Limp picks that one up. 2 more kills here for the side of NIP, as again, this mid lane kind of area around this rune spot seems to be a position that Vega, they want to kind of avoid these fights in, because they're not going great.
The Shadow Demon just seems a bit weird to me. Like, I get the idea of having Shadow Demon to be able to disrupt into a stun, but I think Dazzle would have been a much more stable pick in this early game when you're playing against it Undying, because a disruption very seldom saves you in these early game engagements. Like, if you get caught out, like, self-disrupting is almost just like killing yourself against Nip's team. So what is it really offering? If you had Dazzle, you could put Slardar Dazzle against the Axe. He can't really go aggressive against that because you get healed on if you're tanking the creep wave. And then you could have Mag just idly pushing out top lane. I don't know how the Shadow Demon is supposed to fit. That's kind of the biggest beef that I have right now with Vega's lineup.
That certainly doesn't seem to be the start that Vega were looking for. into this game. But still, the farm is certainly there. CS-wise, they're doing fine. Not really getting zoned out of their lanes as such. Just a fair few kills going towards the side of NIP. But as we were saying, the draft of Vega is going to be very strong once they get that IO relocate up, and they're going to be able to look for the ganks across the map. And against the side as well that, other than the Undying getting the decay stacks and the axe, I mean, Disruptor, Jar, and Puck, they're pretty squishy. Yeah, they are. There is definite possibility for the Tiny combo to come in and to blow some heroes up. There's no doubt about that. But we're quite a ways away from the Wisp being able to relocate the Tiny, and they're still only level 4. It's going to be 6 minutes into the game pretty soon. And I don't think Vega are really going to be looking to play aggressive, at least until they start getting those levels up on the Tiny, because he is their kill potential, more or less. And he definitely needs to be like 7 or 8. Mag potentially getting caught out here. The Berserker's cool miss. The kinetic field forcing Mag to TP himself away, and he's going to be able to get out. There's nothing there to cancel that. So all in all, unfortunate little play from their NIP there, but Vega managed to avoid losing yet another hero. Yeah, that was the best of a bad situation for Mag. He glimpsed a bit preemptively, and that cast point, man, that the Berserker's call just missing so often lately. It really does feel like a tenth of a second. It affects a fair few plays this series. It's all the time in the world. It really is. The bottom lane, we see Undying has TP'd down here. Jonas and Fan maybe looking to go aggressive and see if he can find a call onto 9 Pasha. Contemplating diving the tower here, but he's got to be a little bit aware of potential TP reactions, and there is going to be a TP coming in now from Seema on the Shadow Demon, so it's going to be a little bit harder for Axe and Undying to find any action down in the bottom lane. Maybe they look towards the mid lane here with this rotation. I think actually ganking is going to be tough, but if they find the stack, oh my god, that would be so bad. There's going to be a Dream Call onto the Tiny, the cooldown as well as Era's rotated in towards the mid lane. They're looking for Tiny, who throws out the Avalanche and will be phase shifted. There's your dunk from the Axe, and then Hansken finishing off the IO as well. Both IO and Tiny going down. Oh my god, are they going to spot the stack? Oh, this, if they find this stack. No, this is so bad for Vega. This is so bad. Do they have enough health to tank it though? That's the question. The Axe is at half HP. He's got a couple of calls available in his mana. It should be good to go here. This is really bad. This is so bad. Like, this is how Tiny was supposed to get his way back into the game. You know, when you go mid on Tiny IO, you stack the jungle to make sure you can hit 6, even if your lane doesn't go great for you. And Seema's in the area, but he needs to be careful. Yeah, he's on his own here, on the high ground, just scouting out the damage that NIP are doing here. And, well, mid lane, there's going to be an avalanche onto Hansken. No one can't quite get himself in position for the follow-up toss. But all in all, things looking a little bit grim here for Vega. It is not a good start, that's for sure. Like, you're playing against a lineup right now that maybe has a slight advantage over you in the early game, but not an 8-0 advantage at 8 minutes. Like, that's insane to lose that many heroes so early on. And again, Jonas, he is only 400 away from his Blink Dagger, and he already has Tranquils on top of that. Pasha's having a really hard time farming anywhere, although if this axe stays around too long, I was going to be in some trouble. There's a large rotation here coming from the side of Vega, but Jonas and Fan will just be able to create the space between himself and the enemy and backs himself up to the tier 1. Nothing will be found here. Solo, what level is he sitting at the moment? We see Tiny hitting 6. Solo, he's only just touching on level 5. Top lane, Era and Seal Kid catching out the Darkseer. Still coming up to 9 minutes in. Vega still unable to find themselves a kill on that board. This is a disastrous early game, no other way to put it. They do have 4 bottom, they might be able to find something here. They'll get the Crusher onto Jonas and Fan. There's going to be the Tombstone drop down, Soul Rip topping up the Axe. They can't kill the Axe. A Disruption will actually hold Tiny in place, but they're also most certainly setting up something for the other side, because NIP, they're here in full force. They're going to look to try and bring down the Tiny. He's getting low, he's trying to run away, but he's running through zombies. He goes down here. The rest of the side of Vega will escape, but they leave Tiny to hang dry, and he goes down, and Axe now has the money for the Blink Dagger 9 minutes into this game. This is really bad. They need to try to get their Wisp 6 as soon as possible. Like, they absolutely need that, and with the Blink Dagger timing on the Axe, all he needs to do is let his Tranquil Boots heal him up a little bit. He can go back in. They still have the Undying in the area. He's got plenty of mana at the moment, and they also have a coil that they didn't even have to use to kill the Tiny in the first place. Solo will have a bit of backup here, and he needs it because there's a wraparound coming from the side of NIP, and they do, of course, have Axe. Jonas and Fan on the sidelines with that blink. Solo, he's going to be okay. Axe doesn't want to blink onto that one. I really thought he would go on that, actually. I thought he would, but he wants more. He wants bigger fish. He doesn't want an Aya. Oh, Invis here on the Tiny. This could be really nice. There's an Ion Shell, too. Might be able to look for Era. Maybe they can get a kill.
I think he dies if he walks into the Tiny. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, Avalanche and with the Iron Shell on the Tiny as well. This is going to be a lot of damage and much too much for Era to deal with. That's the Gyro down, and now we see Vega getting themselves onto the board there with a kill. But up against the 10 that NIP have already found, they've still got a long way to go before they climb themselves back into this one.
A couple more kills and I think they'll be okay. It's not like a total catastrophe. It's not like they've lost any towers. Bottom lane, gonna see a blink call.
Yeah, they're gonna bring 9 Pasha straight out the Static Storm there. So a little bit off point there with the skills from Disruptor. Sealkid unable to trap the fish.
That was actually very nice by Pasha because he knew that the Disruptor wanted to glimpse, so he stuns him, and then the glimpse wouldn't have sent him back in the storm because of the time that it took him to get out of the stun in of itself. So it was a pretty cool play. Small things, but he manages to live through a 3-man gank. Not bad.
We are going to see Mag now has now finished up this mechanism on the Darkseer. So 11 minutes in, still very respectable timing, and with that, they will have the ability to go a little bit more aggressive. IO, of course, with the relocates, we yet to see a massive relocate gank of sorts, but it's there and available for Vega if they want to use it.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more action here. The thing is, the Axe wants to be the one who initiates team fights with that Blink Dagger, but if you're not jumping in on the Tiny IO, you're kind of putting yourself at risk for just getting counter-ganked and losing a really bad engagement if you're NIP. So it is a bit scary, and NIP have a 9-kill advantage, but it's only around 2,500 experience in gold. That's a pretty fickle lead at this stage in the game.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, it's even less, actually. It's quite a bit less.
Yes, it's closing back towards the 0 point, and I mean the map control as well in the terms of towers. So you got to remember that the side of Vega, they've taken the top tier 1, whereas NIP are yet to really pressure any of the lanes on the side of Vega. So it's definitely one of those games that the kills, even though as flashy as it looks in terms of differences, that's not the biggest thing. Yonason fan tries to go for a TP out here, will get caught out, and that's going to be the second kill here for Vega, bringing down this Axe.
They know the relocates there. Mag's up top here, has the mech, coil dropped.
Yeah, he's going to just look to... He doesn't get out of this one, does he? No, of course he doesn't. Glimpses there to bring him down. Solo's come in to try and help out with Tiny, but now Io's got to run. He gets taken down by Handscan. The cooldown won't connect onto the Tiny as he jukes it out. Very nice. The second land does catch him out, and that'll be enough to hold him in place as they bring him down as well. So 13 for 2. More kills on the board here for NIP. Vega did find the Axe, but at the cost of 3 heroes on the top lane.
Yeah, it was a nice movement there from NIP. They had actually smoked before the relocate even went off. They had a ward that faded in their own jungle that saw Vega walking into the woods. So they knew that they were going for some kind of counterplay when they smoked up. It's just they happened to know that the Wisp had relocated and they walked right into it. So very fortuitous timing here from NIP.
Yeah, Vega at 9 Pasha. He's got his Blink Dagger now on the Slardar, so potentially there's going to be the plays coming out with the Amplifier's vision being able to set up the relocate ganks and then enabling Slardar to jump in as well from the sidelines. Vega have a very strong potential in terms of catching people out on NIP.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you got relocate, you got a blink Slardar. There's so many ways you can start an engagement. Even just surging somebody in can be all you need. Like, you don't even have to expend a Blink Dagger. If you want to surge your Tiny, you just tether to him after that, go for a stun toss combo. NIP playing aggressive here, still gonna go for a little bit of a smoke. Now, the relocate is a short cooldown, so they have to know that this is available. I think they're just looking for the Tiny Wisp, because if you find that combo, it means that no matter what, you cannot be relocated on. They're always going to be relocating defensively, which is kind of a nice peace of mind to have when you're playing against that composition. And because they're pushing into a tower, and Era has so much experience playing Tiny Io when he used to play with No Tail on Fnatic, that he understands how it works. He's like, if we find them in the woods, we know they can't relocate on us to defend their tier 1. So there's a nice little bit of movement there. They don't find anyone, as Vega are pretty much assuming NIP's side of the map at the moment, and maybe looking to try to counter pressure. Oh, they're gonna find Limp. Smoke breaks, but Pasha goes the wrong way. It is nighttime.
Well, seeing the Slayer, he's going to find Limp, and Limp now has used the orb forward, might find the kill here with the Waning Rift as well. See the Slayer, is he protected by the Slithering Crush from 9 Pasha? The Dream Coil just catching Shadow Demon on the end of it. Limp's found himself a kill, but he might get brought down here by the IO, and he certainly will do. And the dunk's going to be there from Axe. It's a 2-for-1. Make that a 3-for-1 as Disruptor finding himself a killing spree, dismantling the side of Vega. I mean, at least they get the puck kill, but still a trade that Vega aren't going to be that happy with at all.
Well, that's what happens when you use your Wisp as a catapult, more or less. You just use them as ammunition and throw them into a puck to kill him. That wasn't really the the best kind of engagement to take because they opened up on a hero who is very elusive and they overcommit past the tier 1 to try to kill just him. And you're playing into Blink Initiators, and again, the Tiny and the IO were present at the fight at the start. That's a big difference than getting relocated on and also having the capability of just getting a guaranteed stun toss. So Vega not really finding the engagements that they're looking for. They still only killed 1 tower up until this point, and even Era, he's closing in on BKB. And there's that point in the mid game where Gyro is an absolute monster because you can't just burst him down anymore. And his flat cannon plus that level 2 call down are going to do some serious work in these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, BKB is going to be pretty huge in these fights, as you said. And as long as they can keep Tiny and Slaughter away from him, and Axe, he's going to find some action here. He's just able to walk it off, tries to turn around with the dunk. It won't be there, and now Vega, they're picking off the heroes of NIP. Limp will be able to phase shift this one out. He is still alive. The tombstone's been dropped. Puck trying to get himself away from the Darkseer. Darkseer trying to chase down, but Puck's still alive. Limp's going to live through it all. There'll be a crush onto Era, but Era will go down. They do find the gyrocopter here. They might lose Tiny for this one as he's getting caught out. Limp goes back in. Oh, he goes back into the avalanche, though. Limp gets the kill, but pays with his life. Ends up being a 3-for-4 trade, so NIP still, well, in terms of gold gaining, it's slightly more for Vega. The amount of kills obviously favoring the side of NIP, but they lose quite a lot for what they get there.
Yeah, the Tiny got a lot out of that fight. 800 gold. It's not too bad. I mean, yeah, you traded a 3-for-4, and your Shadow Demon is the only one who made it out of that engagement completely unscathed, but they did kill Era. So they're delaying his BKB a bit, and they ended up getting Limp, even though he died afterwards. Oh, middle lane, handscan.
Well, throw down the ult onto him. They're trying to get themselves close to personal. It's just the IO and Shadow Demon here. Do they have the damage required? Sorrit will top Handscan back off, and now the call, but it's not going to catch them. 9 Pashy, he's blinked in onto Handscan. He's got caught in the Static Storm and the Kinetic Field. They found the kill on the Undying. Pashy getting topped up by Solo here on the IO. They will be able to get him out of the cooldown, but the Glimpse, and there's the dunk. They do find the kill onto Slada. They look for Solo. They'll get him as well. Now the call onto no one. There's actually a buyback from Solo. Maybe trying to get himself back into the fight, but what's he going to do? They've already lost the Tiny. They've already lost the Slada. It's a double kill for Jonas and Fan on this Axe, and well, again, another very favorable trade for the side of Vega as an NIP. Sorry,
that was very. It was a weird engagement because Vega start off on a very tanky hero. Oh, Coil on
Hello, Seema. He disrupts himself.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's very dead. There's also an Axe coming in to pick this one off, and he's going to stack. There we go. There's your dunk. Killing spree for Axe. Jonas and Fan, he's had his ups and downs over the league play, his games that we've seen recently, but this game, making a lot of magical things happen on the Axe.
Yeah, he's been on point with his blink initiations. He's missed like 1 or 2 calls, I think, but when he's actually needed, he's always been there. So definitely think that he's found a niche and an initiator type hero. And to fight mid, like, they initiate on the Undying next to a tier 1 tower. And the Undying has like 1200 HP and a casual cloak without like any stacks of decay. It's very hard to kill. And there was no follow-up damage that quickly because the Slardar wasn't in range to stun until after the Purge had almost already worn off. So not quite on the same page, Vega, this game. It's kind of uncharacteristic to see them making these kind of, not necessarily even miscommunication plays, just not being there on time.
It is, as you said. We've seen very good things from Vega recently. In this game, it's definitely seems to be one that they're struggling within. 7 to 24 at the moment, 18.5 minutes in. And in fact, if we have a look at the graph now, is the difference becoming a little bit greater? Obviously, wasn't that huge earlier. Yeah, it's starting to establish itself. Around 7.5k in terms of XP and gold. I mean, it's still not something that's irrecoverable. The side of Vega could still very much climb back through that.
Yeah, they can actually come back. Like, the kill lead is a bit misleading because it's not a gigantic advantage because not everyone is getting like a lesser amount of farm. If you look at the CS, the Darkseer, the Tiny, and the Slardar are all farming at a decent rate, about on par with the Axe and the Gyrocopter. And they actually have lost only 1 more tower than NIP have. So it's not really that big of a difference. It's just the fact that they keep having these fights where they're not actually where they need to be at the given point. And NIP looking to push their advantage here. They're smoked up behind the tier 1 tower top lane. And they know Mag is in the vicinity, but he is a very hard kill. They're also going to drop a very aggressive ward.
Who do they find in it? They're heading back towards the mid lane. Tiny and IO would be nice, but Solo, of course, does have to relocate.
They kind of needed the Axe. I don't know why they didn't smoke with the Axe. Like, this particular gank is not that good.
Yeah, and it doesn't, as you said, they're not going to find anything off the back of it either here, the side of NIP.
Like, if Jonas had been there, they would have been able to like YOLO in because he has Force Staff and Blink. And if you catch the Tiny IO, that's the best pairing to catch on the entire team. Because you can just kill the Wisp right away. Fight is just won based on that.
Oh, here comes the push onto the tier 2. Era standing his ground. There was a toss from Tiny there trying to scare him off. Yeah, it's going to be enough to stem the aggression for this moment in time. NIP backing themselves up. Nine Pasha was finding himself a bit of farm here on this bottom lane. How's the treads now? On top of the blink, sitting out on 5.8k gold, and oh, so some tasty stacks here for the side of NIP to take from Vega.
What is this, stack number 2 that they've managed to get? I mean, I don't know, man. This is, it's not insurmountable, like you said, but it's getting to the point where Vega just haven't really been able to take a single favorable engagement.
Mac, he's on a little bit of a road trip here. He's got the backup of Tiny and Iber. Era's got the BKB finished. The cooldown will come down, will connect just onto Solo. They're trying to chase down this IO here. He's going to be able to take Tiny back out in a few seconds. It looks like that's going to be the case. There's going to be the call on to Nine Pasha. Do they have anything to bring down this Slardar? Solo's there with the backup. Solo will actually take Slardar out, leaves Mag and no one to get themselves out on their own. Mid lane, Nine Pasha's been caught out by Limp here, and the damage, is it going to be enough? He will get glimpsed back as well. There's nowhere for this Slardar to run. He's going to try his best here with the sprint, but it's not enough. He gets taken down for 40 seconds without buyback available.
As Solo tried to save him, actually killed him. Because if he didn't relocate, he would have just sprinted to the left, up the hill, been fine. Tiny was there as well, so he could have saved him if that was necessary, and Mag was also in the vicinity as well. So he actually relocated him to a point where he was just dead. That was very, very unfortunate for him. In the meantime, Vega, they are going to get the tier 2 in the safe lane.
Jonas fan on the top lane as well. Finds the call here onto no one.
Punch the tower.
Dream Coil as well. Limp's turned up with a fight, but there's the backup of the IO. Solo's already tethered up to no one. And Tiny, he's punching. Limp and Jonas fan have to be a little bit careful here. And they will back themselves off. But indeed, as you're saying, space and time created for the side of NIP as they look to finish off Roshan. We're going to see Darkseer, Shadow Demon, and Slardar head towards the pit, but can they get there in time? They might be able to contest this one. And Nine Pasha goes straight in. BKB is going to be popped by Era. The Static Storm will catch and trap the fish. Slardar goes down here. Mag, he just stands there and looks on in awe. He will get defensively disrupted here by Seema the Slayer, but he's just held in place. Will find a very nice vacuum, bringing Hanskin up to the high ground, but Mag still pops. He goes down here on this fight. There's going to be the Yule Scepter from Limp, holding Seema the Slayer in place. He's trapped in the party ring. His party's over. He's down. 3 heroes falling on Vega, and now NIP will just to get back to Roshan and say, back to work, boys, and that's the Aegis there for Era.
I thought they were going to relocate the Wisp and the Tiny in, but just didn't end up happening. Maybe his relocate was off cooldown until the fight was pretty much already lost, and now Tiny getting caught. There is a relocate.
There is, and they'll use it.
Yeah, Wisp sacrificing his...
Oh, where's the little ball? I think there it is. It's hiding behind the cliff. It's just there's a little dot there. There we go. Yeah. So he's coming back. Jonas and fans prepared, and well,
see you later, Solo.
Solos.
We will sing tales of your valor.
Jonas and fan there with the BM dunk. 29-7. It's looking good for NIP.
It's kind of funny because even with this kind of a kill lead, like they are 22 kills ahead, and we've just now exceeded the 10,000 experience lead, like with 22 extra kills. That's a huge amount of kills to have and not be farther ahead than they are. And I think that's actually credit to the fact that Vega still are able to farm under the pressure. It's just, again, they're not able to really get the fights. With a Tiny and a Wisp, you always see the Tiny doing, like even that game a long time ago before League play started when Sing was like 0-5. He came back with phase boots and a blink and managed to get like 10 kills back to back just because stun toss combo is that good. But it just never happened for Vega. Whatever the case, Nip looking very strong here. They have tons of aggressive warding out in Vega's side of the map, and they're ready. They're always just looking for team fights, getting good blink initiations from the Axe, and the game continues like this. Vega are in some serious trouble.
Yeah, Limp's going to be working onto the Aghanim Scepter, as you were talking about in the draft, now on top of the Yule Scepter, and it's not got that long to go for it. Just under 1,500 gold now for the puck.
Yeah, the Aghanims is going to be such a nightmare. Like, the Slardar needs BKB, but when he gets BKB, there's already going to be an Aghanims up. Tiny's kind of in the same boat. So when you get coiled as those two melee heroes who kind of have to chase in, it's going to be really easy for Nip to just kite you around. Like normally you would almost have your BKB by now, given a perfect scenario, right? Like your Slardar has a Blink Dagger and 1,300 gold and a Ring of Health, but without the BKB, you saw what happened to him when he went in the pit. He just got caught in a static storm and just flopped over. Sprint makes you take way too much damage against these types of teams.
Oh, there's a Dream Call onto the Slardar and onto the IO. Static Storm catching them both up, but IO was able to get the relocate off, brings the Tiny out, leaves 9 Pasha as he goes down here on the Slardar. There's going to be a glimpse that will catch out Mag here. They'll go for him as well. They'll bring down the Darkseer. Their double kill for Error, and now IO returns with the relocate. He will find the tether forward to the range creep. It's not enough. He's going to fall also. 3 heroes going down again on Vega. NIP this time losing absolutely nothing. And off the back of that, they're ready to push and ready to maybe even take the fight to the high ground here in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's looking kind of scary. They probably pressured the tier 2. Not sure if they go high ground. It just doesn't... I don't know what Vega can do. There's just so many times where you think that they might be able to get something done, and NiP just seem to be one step ahead. They always get the extra bonus kill with the Disruptor glimpsing somebody back. It's just a very, very strong performance out of NiP, and I'm kind of happy to see it because the last couple of days they haven't been looking so hot.
They haven't. I mean, I believe they're the side that's in a gaming house at the moment, aren't they? So
yeah, they're landing.
You know, they're... What's the word, Andy?
I don't know what word you're looking for.
The word when a team gets together and practices before a LAN.
What, boot camp?
Boot camp.
I was like, what is he actually talking about?
They've been boot camping, yes. and it's working. It obviously wasn't evident in the first few games we saw them in, but now they're doing very well against Vega. And Vega recently, a side that you've got to be impressed with if you can do well against them, because Vega have been very strong. Yeah,
it's true. Gonna see the Puck scouting out here with Invis.
Oh, Limp. He's got the Dream Coil. He's got the Aghanims. Oh, he doesn't even need it. He's throw it down anyway with the Static Storm. IO goes down. Tiny. He runs himself around the ring, but he falls as well. It's an unstoppable kill streak here for Disruptor. And again.
Yeah, this is... it's not great.
Wow.
Fairly one-sided in terms of kills. It's interesting to see Vega, like...
They're farming well.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, they're still farming well, even in this circumstance. I mean, yeah, you're 27 kills behind. You're 15,000 gold behind, but their CS is still pretty much on par with what NiP have. The issue is they have been so uncoordinated in their engagements this game. Like, it's so crazy to me that they're actually the same team that we saw earlier.
It's a very different...
I don't know if NiP are just outplaying them that badly, or if Vega are just having an off game.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
I don't know, man. I mean, NIP, how do you stop them at this point? They're all grouped up here on the bottom lane. The side of Vega, they've got the Darkseer and the SD up on top, but they're going to have to come back for the defense, because Era, he's knocking on their doors here, up to the high ground, onto the tier 3.
They're going for the back door. They're just relocating in.
Okay. And why not? The side of NIP, if they're going to react to this one, they're going to leave Era there. They're going to send back Lim. And Jonathan Fan and the Disruptor Seal Kid. Oh, he finds a call onto Tiny.
Wait, the Wisp left the Tiny there.
Did I just relocate out on his own?
He left the Tiny.
Oh, the tether was over. Oh, okay. He still might get out. He's going to live. No, there's a call. Okay, no one's going down here as well. Your Tiny will drop. Mag tries to TP out. He will get away, but IO heading back to base on his own.
Not the best. Not exactly what he wanted, I'm sure. Now, as grim as this game looks, Pasha almost has his BKB.
Okay.
Now, the thing with NiP's team is that a lot of their damage is comprised of magic because they have Undying, they have Gyrocopter, they have Disruptor, they have Puck. Now, yeah, the coil's still going to hold them in place, but he's not going to explode to damage. So he might be able to get something done with the BKB. It's going to be tough, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've seen a game with a kill difference this big in the entire league. We're 36-8. This is an absolute bloodbath favouring the side of NIP this game, 29 minutes in. But the thing is, it still feels like Vega they've got a little spark, you know, something that they can work with here, and they could still take a fight against NIP if they get the initiation, but it's going to be so hard to do at this point.
High ground defense.
NIP have.
High ground defense is good when you have Darkseer. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Maybe Mag gets like a Blink Dagger. Maybe they get a nice Blink into a Sardar stun or a Blink into an Avalanche toss, and that can be pretty fight winning, even as far ahead as NiP are at this stage, which is like really, really far ahead.
Yeah, your Blink on Darkseer now picked up.
Yeah. So, I don't know, is anyone really going to even die to that combo? Everyone on NiP is fairly tanky. Like, the person with the lowest HP is a Disruptor, and he won't be anywhere near the front line, and even has a Glimmer Cape, and they're going to catch Seema bottom as well.
Yeah, he tries to TP out. The glimpse is there. Seema the Slayer becomes Seema the Slain. There.
Nice. Got him.
Got him indeed.
Hashtag got him. All right, so Roshan, gonna see how long the timer is in about a minute. Actually less, more like 40 seconds. If it's a short Roshan, I think Nip just get it immediately. Vega could potentially sneak it if they can pressure the lanes out a bit, because they do have Slardar. So they can smoke up, maybe try to go for a sneak Roshan, but the warding from Nip is so aggressive right now. They see all of the woods. BKB from Jonas. Faded out.
He is a little bit... Jonas and fan over this, he likes his premature BKB, doesn't he?
Well, he's a bit trigger happy, but I think it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah,
the thing is, they only had vision of Vega's side of the map, and he saw a blink initiator and nothing else. Like, no one was even showing on lane. So I actually get the fact that he BKB'd there.
Yeah. Fair point, fair point. Roshan will be back up in 1.5 minutes, so it is going to be a shorter respawn.
Yeah.
Which, as you said, NRP could very much look to take in a 1.5 minutes. BKB has been picked up by Slardar, ready for the next fight, but it's, yeah, this is going to be quite something if the side of Vega are able to swing this one back in their favor now, in a game that it just seems they're so far behind. In terms of kills, the net worth isn't as bad as it could be in terms of differences.
It's pretty bad.
It's not great.
It's definitely pretty bad. Fortunately for Vega, they are still a very experienced team, and because of that, they're still able to pressure out the lanes. They're not just getting kind of asphyxiated like we see a lot of teams do. Take basically Unknown in the first series today. They were just kind of sitting in their base and letting Vega do whatever they wanted. Vega are still out and about on the map. They're still trying to be active. They're not just sitting there and letting them go gently into that good night.
I mean, no one on the Tiny. He's closing in on his BKB. He's got the Mithra Hamlioka Club coming up to 500 gold towards his recipe. So maybe with the BKBs, that is the time that Vega can look to try and find some kind of action.
It is. The BKBs completely stop the Disruptor combo from being a problem. And I gotta say, the Disruptor has kind of been the problem, I feel, for Vega's lineup. There's been so many glimpses into extra kills, and oh my god, Roshan's gonna spawn like right as they're here. No, Seema's leaving the pit. It's so close. Just stand there.
Seema, stay there.
He's gonna see it spawn. It's like almost 100%. Yeah.
Now, do they go for it?
Well, after seeing all the TPs back, probably not. But they could go for some kind of bait, I guess, if they wanted to.
We're going to see IO CP back up here to the top lane and Tiny as well, but they do indeed have that relocate if they want to come back and contest Roshan, because NIP, they might look to take it themselves when they become aware that it is up.
If you give it up, though, you might as well just be saying, like, GG, because that's going to be a base push. And even with Vega having their BKBs up, they won't have buybacks for a very long time because they have to spend all their money on BKB to win the fight. And then they have to continue farming to get buyback on top of their BKB, which I don't know if they'll have time for.
Here we go. This is going to be it. The test between these two sides. As NRP go to Roshan. Vega, are they going to be ready to contest this one? Let's have a look. Tiny and IO, they've got the relocate available. They're just farming up the Dire Jungle at this point in time. Darkseer's in the nearby. Shadow Demon and Slardar a little bit further away. Maybe Vega just let this one go.
I guess that's the choice. I mean, I guess the mentality that they have is, if we're going to play it safe, we might as well just take the high ground defense. It's still the best shot we have, even if they have Aegis. Because fighting in the pit right now, the Tiny had just finished his BKB. And in order for them to fight, everyone would have already had to have been in position waiting this whole time, and then waiting for the BKB to fly out to the Tiny and then relocate it. But that's not the case. His Era, he's going to secure himself another Aegis here. And he is going for the Silver Edge, which against Tiny isn't too bad, I guess. The thing with Gyrocopter is sometimes you can find yourself in range of Craggy because you only have 365 attack range. So if you just hit him with the Silver Edge, he loses, what, 5 armor? And he loses his ability to Craggy, so it's not too bad, I guess.
Vega heading straight up towards this top lane, maybe seeing if they could catch out Limp. I mean, at this point of the game, are Vega better just to look for the split push action rather than the full-on 5-man fight?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you want a split push. That's the bread and butter of a Wisp Tiny. You play off the map, you split push lanes. If a fight breaks out somewhere else on the map, you just relocate in. If they come to you, that's kind of where the problem starts. Is if you get hunted as the Wisp Tiny, that's the thing that makes your lineup not maybe work as well as you want it to. But with the Slardar actually having a BKB now in level 16, they have the ability of taking somebody down very fast. Like -20 armor with a Tiny beating on you with a double damage bottled, there is some serious potential for teamfight coming out from Vega right now. This is maybe the biggest power spike they've had in the entire game, just because of their item timing.
Unison fan on the axe, he's now picked himself up a Shiva's guard, so even more tankier here on the big old brute. And Vega still very much set on getting some action going on this top lane. They've got 4 heroes up there, all Seema. He's going to find a little bit of a nightmare here. Error, Hans, Ken, and Seal Kid will bring down the Shadow Demon. And wants the kill streak for the Disruptor. He's having a good game.
Yeah, they're backdooring though. This Wisp Tiny kills so fast. He has a double damage too.
Lim goes forward, gets the Waning Rift onto Solo. Unison fan as well getting the call onto the eye. The mech from Mag giving Solo some kind of safety, but it doesn't matter. The dunk from Axe finishes him off, and no one he's just
He's stunned by the coil.
Yeah, the coil. It's well, how many seconds? 6 seconds?
4.5 seconds.
4.5 seconds. Yeah. Well, he certainly felt that one. Double kill for Axe as they clean up there on the top lane. They do end up losing the Undying, but base is defended, and
that double damage was like the dream for the Tiny, and unfortunately for no one, he had to BKB it off just to try to get out of that engagement, and then he got 4.5 second stun from the coil.
That's a long stun.
Dude, it's brutal.
That's like the same as a Max Mirana arrow, or?
It's like 0.5 seconds longer on the arrow, but yeah, it's still. The fact that the coil lingers for so long, yeah, it's 8 seconds scepter coil duration. So for 8 seconds, you literally cannot leave unless you TP out.
Pasha pops the BKB, he's got to run. Error, Limp, and Silky chasing him down. I don't know if the Slider gets himself out of this one. He's going to look to try and potentially blink out the Solo coming in as well to help him. He will find the blink. Limp also blinks forward, catching out Solo and Seema the Slayer here with the Waning Rift. The missile will continue to chase Pasha to the base, but he will be able to top himself up in the health department. And they won't find a killer, but still 9 for 40 between these two sides. This is... I mean, Andy, have you got any words?
It's painful for Vega.
Little pause.
They're having some issues, man. Like, honestly.
Yes.
I think that this was anyone's game from a draft perspective. I don't think that Vega were outdrafted in the least. The only thing that I questioned was the Shadow Demon pick, but I still understand why you want it. It's fantastic against any kind of blink initiation from the Axe. It's really good to be able to just set up a stun from the Sardar, for example. In the late game, you can make illusions of your Tiny as well, which are great for pushing. There's a lot of benefits to having the hero. I just feel like it made their lanes really, really weak. Like, Shadow Demon is good when he's partnered with another hero who deals high damage and also has a disable. And I guess that's kind of what they figured the Slardar brought to the team. But in reality, they were never able to really get the laning phase that they wanted to. And they ended up having like an Axe who was getting really good farm. He actually out-farmed Mag in lane. Middle, the Wisp and the Tiny weren't able to kill anything. They gave away a lot of kills early. They got first blooded before the creep wave even spawned. Like, there were so many things that went wrong, like in conjunction, that no matter how good your draft is or how good you are, if those things happen and they keep happening, like little by little, you will just get to this point where it's just an avalanche of mistakes just end up being a huge advantage for the other team.
Here we go. Back on for the side. Let's see if Vega still have it in them to do something about this massive lead that NRP have managed to achieve over the last 37 minutes here of this game. Yeah, the net worth now, it's over 25,000. Yeah, XP as well, over 25,000. So the backdoor, that's the potential that they've got to look for here, Andy.
Now, the backdoor is real, for sure, with this lineup. I think he might just... If you were going to do that, you probably go back for a Hyperstone or Mask of Madness or something, just to try to maximize your damage potential. The issue they're going to have, though, is trying to push the lanes out when no one is visible on Nip. Because there are so many blink initiators now and ways to catch that if you show and no one on Nip is showing on the map, then you have a potential of just getting picked before the fight even starts, and that cannot happen.
Oh, Tombstone's going to get dropped here as NRP, they're ready to try and take a set of racks. The fortification from the side of Vega will come out. And Mag potentially looking for a wraparound here. Finds the vacuum onto the two walls drops as well. 9 patch spots the BKB, gets himself in. Error's been caught out. The Static Storm and Kinetic Field have been dropped. And the Dream Coil as well onto Tiny. They've lost the Darks here. They're potentially going to lose Seema the Slayer. He's defensively disrupts himself. No one just tries to TP out. Will actually be able to get himself out here on the Tiny. They've only lost the Darks here, but they will indeed lose these racks as well. They do end up losing Seema the Slayer as Limp chases that one down on the puck. So 2 heroes down. The bottom racks to fall as well. NIP still coming out very much on top in these engagements. Or maybe not if they hang around too long. Era's getting low. We'll try and fight here with the life steal onto no one. Looks to kill Solo here onto the IO. Will find it. Solo tries to do a little mini relocate out of the party ring. Aegis will get popped on Era. He's back for round 2. Nice vacuum onto 3. And with the hits, but it doesn't matter because Tiny's dead. And that is a huge amount of damage output got. Well, hang on. They've got 9 Pasha, who suddenly finds himself a double kill. But they're getting caught out. Era's still there, hitting away, chipping away. Triple kill for Era. GG well played is called. 39 minutes in, the game ends 11-46. NIP finally able to bring Vega down.
Have you ever heard the expression "death by 1,000 cuts"?
No, is that sounds like a movie.
It's like an old.
I don't
know 100% if it's a Chinese proverb or not, but it sounds like something that would be, right?
Trust the Chinese.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what happened to Vega this game. It's just a ton of little things that went wrong.
Yeah.
Just ended up becoming, okay, well, now all of a sudden, the enemy team has like a 20,000 golden experience lead. For the first 15 to 20 minutes, it wasn't going amazing.
No.
But there was only like a 2,000 or 3,000 gold lead and an experience lead. That's like one team fight, maybe 2, right? You can come back from that. And then they kept getting picked off. And they didn't get Roshan, and they kept losing fights. And they kept losing fights, and they kept dying. And then all of a sudden, it's like a 35 kill lead or something like that at the end of the game when Nip decided to try to go high ground.
Yeah.
And by that point, you've already made so many mistakes that you can't really blame anything else other than they just got outplayed. Like, I think that is just it. Some games, the only analysis you need is they got outplayed.
I think, yeah, as you said, mistakes were made in this series. And the series as a whole, obviously, that was our second game, Andy. First game was indeed a default win for the side of NIP. So they end up 2-0, which is great for them because they weren't doing too fantastic. So this has given NIP a little bit of a boost. It has put a little bit of a dampener on Vega's recent kind of success. But it'll be interesting to see how the standings are matching out. I'd imagine that Vega are still higher than NIP, but NIP is still definitely climbing themselves back up that league table.
Yeah.
But that's it for games today. You're free to go.
We're done. It's only 10 o'clock.
This is an early start. The sun's probably still out.
It's fortunate, though, because tomorrow we have to be here at 9 a.m.
We do. A long day tomorrow. We'll see you guys for that. We'll prepare. We'll have a good sleep tonight, Andy. Make sure you have an early bed, okay?
I mean, I always go to bed early.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah, and go to bed early, Andy. I'm worried about you.
I'm already asleep. I'm just done. As soon as the game's over,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the start of the big weekend, but we'll send you straight over, in fact, to our hosts and guests for some analysis on that game at hand. We'll see you guys tomorrow.